Well, you know, church, this week, my retirement really hit home because I went to do my retirement video. And it kind of hit, you know, it's still not there, but I still don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to let God abide and we'll see what goes on from there. But we shot that video and I said, it's happening. Yeah. Yes. And I said, and the retirement service will be at the conference on June 10th. We thank God for it. But you know what? When I thought of this, looking at this message, I was thinking about how many gardeners do we have out there? How many people like to fool around in the garden, outside? And you know what? You know the more wild vines that grow all up? Yes. They're growing everywhere, Doc, and all along the fence line, and they don't do nothing but give you headaches. Yes. But I found out one thing. If you cut them off, guess what? All that vine died. Well, that's what Jesus was trying to tell his disciples at this time, see. He was trying to tell them that they got to stay connected. How many of y'all got cell phones? Everybody here got a cell phone. Now, cell phone ain't worth nothing if it's not what? Connected. And see, Jesus' disciples were being invited to stay connected to Christ in the same way that the branch stays connected to the vine. As we look at those scriptures, you know, it's just God just talking with his disciples, letting them understand and letting them know where he wants them to be. And he starts off and he says in that 15th verse, he says, I am the true vine. So you're not a vine, I'm a true vine. You say, it's a lot of vines out there. And you just heard me talk about some of them vines that give us them weeds and everything. It's a lot of vines out. We got a lot of weeds out in this world. And we have to watch what vine we are connected to. He said, I'm a true vine and my Father is the husbandman. So God himself taking care of that. He's making sure that everything is all right. And so we can go out here and deal with all the other vines, but those vines lead us to destruction. But this vine is led by God himself. And he's telling you what you need to do now. He said, now this vine is there, but I need you to stay connected. Because see, the disciples sometimes, they get off course and do like many of us do. You know, we see things and we try other things. Verse 2 says that now what? Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, you take it away. And so we got a lot of things going on now that's bearing not fruit. And that's why we see young folk dying at a young age. We see things going on now that we've never seen before because they are not connected to the vine. You have to abide in God. He said, if you abide in me, I'll abide in you. You know, we look at this thing and we say, well, I was listening to a radio station the other day and they called Michael Harris. This guy said, well, what we need to do is go back to beating our kids. I said, oh, wow. You know, I said, well, we just, that's what he said, beating. Go back to beating our kids. I say, well, I don't think that's the thing. We need to go back to discipline our kids. Our kids don't have any discipline now. They got too much leeway now. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's some things that I hear some of the youngers say that if I said that, I'll be looking for my face. Because that just didn't happen. You know, you certain things you just didn't say. You know what? I don't know about y'all, but I couldn't even say lie. You better be telling a story. I think you couldn't say lie. But the kids now just, oh, boy, that man lying. Boy, you know what? I came home one day. Thank God I was sitting in front of the TV, watching a football game. Because this lady, a good friend of my mother, called our house. Miss Phillips said, Marie, Charles just threw a rock in my window. I said, Lord, you said, you sure it was Charles? She said, yeah. My mama come in there and she said, well, Charles been here. She came in and she said, Charles, did you throw a rock in Miss Phillips' window? Well, if I say no, I'm calling Miss Phillips a lie. So that's a no-win situation. All I can say, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. But see, it's things like that that's going on. When you're connected to the vine, there's certain things that you cannot do or that you will not do because you're trying to bring forth what? Good fruit. And see, we've gotten away from that now. We're blaming the kids. It's not the kids, it's us. That's right. We stopped raising kids. We stopped raising kids. We're giving them too much leeway. But it's you have to, we get in there, and say, well, that's old school. I say, well, my favorite saying about that, you don't get to be old school being a young fool. I say, so you have to go around and do what you do that that's right, And see, when you stand up on some of the words, I know we say the Bible has changed. No, the Bible has changed not. The Bible is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. In verse 3, he says, now what? In verse 3, now ye are clean. God, we just came through a phase where we learned that Christ died on the cross for us. The sinless died for the sinful. So now you are clean through the word. He's cleaned us, which I've spoken unto you. That's what he's telling his disciples. I done clean you up. I done wash you white as snow. But you got to stay connected. You go around doing all that you want, but if you're not connected to God, you're just out there running around doing things. We have so much stuff going on with pastors now. Pastors been accused of this, been accused of that. And when one pastor get accused, we all get lumped in that same barrel. Yeah. And so it's kind of hard sometimes. And so you have to keep doing what you're doing. But that fourth verse says what? Abide in me and I in you. Trust God for who he is. Trust God because you know what God is going to be about. He means you no harm. He means you all the good. Abide in me and I in you. And as the branch cannot bear fruit of itself. If you don't have that vine going up there, when I go out there and clip them old weeds from the bottom, guess what? All the rest of that stuff dies. And so you don't have to worry about that. It's got to stay connected. And so if you don't abide in God, guess what? Things start to happen. Things start dying out. Things start turning around. That's what we got going on right now in the world. That's right. We have too much of the world in us and not enough God. Right. See, God, when you have God in there, some things you just don't do. You know better. Like your parents told you, boy, you know better than that. And you knew better than that. They didn't have, and then we were laughing about it last Sunday, in church. You're in there acting up, you heard that, and you knew who that was. They didn't have to tell you nothing. You knew you better sit down and get straight, because the next time you're going to take a walk. And so you had to understand that. Now, the fifth verse says, I am the vine. God says I'm the vine. If you want to be in me, I am the vine. Stay connected to me. Verse 5. I am the vine, and ye are what? The branches. If I'm connected to that vine, guess what I have? I have food, blood running in my body. It woke me up this morning, had strength all around me. Hey, you can move because the vine is connected to the branches, and the branches can grow. Because see, when the branches don't have the vine, they just fall off and die. Say, he that abideth in me, and I in him. And that's what we're all about in this life. You know, this whole Christian journey that we have is all about having God in me. See, I don't have to go around and tell somebody I'm a Christian. They ought to know it by the way I walk. They ought to know it by the way I talk. They ought to know it by the way I live. You ought to know it by the way I give. You know, that's what decides who you are. You know, some people may not ever come in a church. You may be the only Bible that they ever see. And so you have to abide in that vine. And you have to be strong enough to go out and tell somebody, I know a God that's able. In the midst of all my trials and tribulations, I know he's able. I know where he brought me from. And if he brought me from it, he can bring you from it. You know, my neighbor just lost her husband across the street. And it's some trying times now. But we all know that we're going there, and they've been good neighbors for Lord knows how long. And it's kind of hard right now. But one thing I do know, he knew the Lord. And when I know he's all right. No more suffering, no more pain, none of those things that go on because he abided in the vine. You say, and then it says in verse 6, if a man abides not in me, you get out there and do your own thing. You're running your own race. You're doing all the craziness out there. If the man does not abide in me, he is what? Cast forth as a branch. And you know, branches what? Fall off. And we see that happening every day. You got to stay connected into that vine because that's where your strength comes from. You know, you want to know why you come to church on a Sunday? Because you've been beat up all week. People done stepped on you, done called your names, done cut you off, done made you mad, and you come in here to draw strength so that you can make it another week. Yes, Lord, because this world is hard. This world don't mean us no good. And so we have to understand that, Lord, I got to have some God in me. I got to have God in me. Say, I got to have Jesus because I just can't make it by myself. Oh, you got to have that vine. I thank God that the vine is there. He gives me everything that I need. And that says that and is what that vine is withered. And what? And men gather them and cast them what? Into the fire. And they are burned. You know what that means, huh? You going to HE double hockey sticks. That's what it means. I say, so you have to get your life right. You either going to the non-smoking section or you're going to the smoking section. So you better get your life right. I don't know about y'all. I don't want to go to the smoking section. I don't even smoke cigarettes now, so I want to go to non-smoking section. Yes, Lord. Because see, you know what? Even though I'm cold-natured, And I'm always wrapped up. They'll tell you I'm wrapped up. It can be 90 degrees. I'm wrapped up in a blanket. But I'm going to tell you, I can't stand that heat. And don't even want to experience that heat. So I want to go where the streets are paved with gold. Oh, jasper walls, a mansion in the corner. I don't know about it, but that's where I want to go. I thank God that God is who. And this is the assurance that he gives us. He said, if you abide in me and my words. So we got everything here to tell us what to do. We read it, but do we really hear it? Do we understand it? Or does it go through one ear right out the other ear? God's word is there. If you abide in me and my words in you, ye shall ask what you will, and it shall be done unto you.
That's all right.
It may not be the answer that you want, but it shall be done unto you. You may be asking for life, and he gives you peace, a life that's everlasting. We don't understand it, but this is not our home. We just passing through here. And so we got to understand that he gives us an opportunity. And I don't know about y'all, but Lord, what we would do when we see Jesus' face, when we see him face to face, and you can just walk around heaven all day. I don't have to wait to choir rehearsal. I don't have to wait to get in the senior choir or the inspirational choir, but I can just go and sing my song wherever I am, and I don't have to worry about what tune I'm in, because it's my song. And I don't have to worry about nobody complaining about me, because I'm going to be singing around in heaven all day. That's what we live for. He said, herein is my Father glorified. He's glorified when we trust in him, and we trust him and allow him to come in our life. That ye bear much fruit. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to bear fruit. So shall ye be my what? Disciples. How many disciples do we have in here? Every hand ought to go up. Everybody in here ought to be a disciple. You are a disciple of God. And you have to go out and spread that word. And if you don't do anything else, you let God abide. And we say amen. Amen.